In today's Leeds news, Solomon wants permanent Leeds move, Farke set to stay, Sterling linked by Merson, Leeds keen on Sainz, how could Leeds win the title on Monday, and Wilder and Bamford speak. Morning folks, Jay here, Friday morning the 25th of April with your final Leeds news video of the week. There will be a warm-up video up in the morning with all the stats and data and form guide stuff leading into the Bristol City game for Monday night, and you can check out the podcast last night. Myself and Paul from the Leeds Therapy covered off a little bit of preview of the game. We talked about Daniel Farke's situation, as well as Tom from the Legends 11 popped on to give us more detail on the Leeds 11 that will play the Borough Legends Bray on May 10th. So more details of that down below if you want to get involved in that. But we'll crack on with the news today because there are some stories. We're not going to cover all the manager links to Leeds because there's a story here that kind of puts it all to bed. We'll see how we go with that. But we'll start off with the Manor Solomon situation. And now the promotion has been secured by Leeds United. Leeds are said to be busy getting their final summer plans together behind the scenes, and recruitment will be a big part of that. Manor Solomon is said to be one of those that Leeds would like to get wrapped up relatively quickly. This season alone, Solomon has registered 11 assists with 9 goals in 28 starts for Leeds. And in contrast, Daniel James, who's been nominated for the EFL Player of the Year, has a 21 goals and assists combination this year. So Solomon with 20 GNAs right behind him and is a strong contender for the EFL Championship Team of the Year. According to a piece in Give Me Sport today, Solomon himself is now said to want to complete a permanent move to Leeds United, and apparently Spurs will allow the player to go for a fee of around about £15 million, which is a much more reasonable fee than the £25 million that was quoted back in January. The same report also adds that Leeds are firmly in pole position to get a deal done for the winger, although Everton are said to have some interest in as well. But there is a strong belief from Solomon himself that he would thrive at Leeds should they get an agreement between the two clubs. A lot of that is said to be down to Daniel Farke's relationship with Solomon, and his handling of the player, as well as the environment behind the scenes has been suitable for Manor Solomon. More on that in the next story as well. He's been very good for Leeds. He did have that little bit of a down period, although it was only a couple of games, but he's really finished the season strong and shown the quality that he has. And you'd imagine the Premier League with a bit more space, maybe he can do an awful lot more damage, but we'll have to keep an eye on him and see what happens there. There is other interest in him. There is said to be other clubs that could potentially make a move for him as well. But if he's happy at Leeds, if he's playing Premier League football, which was his goal, and if Leeds can agree a fee with Tottenham Hotspur, you never know. He could be a Leeds United player. Nice and early, ready for pre-season for next season. But let's move on and talk about the manager situation, which has been a hot topic for the last couple of days. And over the last couple of days, we've seen many managers linked with Leeds United, from Cesc Fabregas all the way over to Jose Mourinho. But an article in The Athletic yesterday now states that Daniel Farke is set to remain at Leeds United next season in the Premier League. In the piece from The Athletic, Baron Cross has delved into the situation surrounding the future of Daniel Farke, and in an extract from that article, Cross said the following. According to sources The Athletic has spoken to, who all spoke under the condition of anonymity to protect relationships, the current direction of travel would suggest that Farke will remain as Leeds manager next season. Farke has broken multiple records this season as Leeds United manager and is up for the EFL Manager of the Year, and you would imagine if he can clinch the title in the next 2 games that other award would likely be heading back to Daniel Farke. But Cross went on and finished his piece by saying the following. While Farke is not guaranteed to be in charge next season, all the noise out of Ellen Road suggests it's far more likely than not. Alex Crook has also given his insight on this as well, on what he has heard, and he said that he doesn't expect it to happen and that Daniel Farke is said to not be worried about his future position at the club. According to other reports today that have come out, it also states that Farke is said to have the support and backing of the bulk of the Leeds United squad. It says the bulk because obviously if you're not playing under Daniel Farke and if you're on the fringes, you'd likely want a new manager to give you a chance of getting into the team. But the players that are amongst the players that are playing apparently all seem to have the managers back on this situation. So yeah, it seems like this may be starting to go away a little bit. The timing of it wasn't great, but you need some positivity coming into the weekend because, as has been said, Leeds have a title to go and win. Move on. Let's talk about a crazy story that came out yesterday. More a story than a transfer link, so we'll be clear on that. But in an odd transfer story that did come out yesterday, Leeds were linked with a move for Arsenal winger Raheem Sterling in an unusual comment made by Sky Sports pundit Paul Merson. He claimed that Leeds should go after the 30-year-old former Manchester City and Chelsea winger. Sterling has struggled since he moved to Arsenal last summer, and in recent performances he has struggled to get past fullbacks 1v1 and has looked more and more likely that the legs are gone or are very much on their way out, and that's likely to be something that won't improve with time. On the topic of Raheem Sterling and Leeds, Paul Merson said the following: "If I was Leeds United, then I'd be looking at Raheem. They're a young team, they like to play attacking football, he's very good in the dressing room and a good team player. For me, that wouldn't be a mad move for Leeds or for Sterling. Given the options that Leeds currently have out wide, the pace that Leeds like to play with in wide areas, and a struggling Raheem Sterling, you would imagine he might even struggle to get into the Leeds United side coming into the Premier League next season with the options that Leeds have. And given the fact that Raheem Sterling has been a pacey player for the bulk of his career, and now seeing that the legs are on the wane, for me there's nothing in this at all, and Leeds won't even make a move for Raheem Sterling. I don't think he fits the 49ers recruitment bracket either, being 30 years of age and getting older, coming into the Premier League. Leeds will need experience in there, but I think if you're going to bring in slower players, they're likely to be more central areas of the park and not out in wide areas where you'd want a lot more pace. But let's move on to a story that may have some more credibility to it, and that relates to Borja Sainz from Norwich. And Sainz is one of a lot of people's choices if you were to dip into the Championship for players next season for Leeds, after having a really impressive season for Norwich City, according to Graham Bailey. So take this with a very healthy pinch of salt on this one, but he says that Leeds are keen on the Norwich winger / attacker. Sainz has 17 goals and 4 assists this season in 39 matches for Norwich, in what has been a tough season for the Canaries. Leeds view Sainz apparently as more of an attacker than a wide player, and his dynamic style of play is said to be one of the main reasons that Leeds may consider making a move for him. Sainz's contract ends with Norwich in the summer of 2026, meaning that coming into this summer he has just 1 year left on his current deal, which very much fits the model that the 49ers have gone through in the last couple of windows. A player with limited time on his current deal means a slightly discounted price, and if Norwich want to get any money back for Sainz, this would be the summer to do that, assuming the player himself is keen on a move away and to the Premier League. So Leeds may be able to get a discounted price on a player that has had a good impact this season. And as I say, if you look around social media, although not the fountain of knowledge for everything Leeds United, the general census will be a Sainz would be one of the players that you would look to take out of the Championship if you had the option. Moving on to a scenario-based situation of Leeds United on Monday night are going for the league title and how they could wrap it up by Monday. There was massive scenes around Ellen Road after the win this Monday just gone, and a good set of results over the weekend could see Leeds United crowned champions on Monday night, although it's more likely to be Plymouth on the final day. The pressure should now be off the players after clinching promotion back to the Premier League, and they might be able to enjoy the last 2 games, but everyone around Leeds will want to secure that title and have the silverware come the parade at the end of the season. If Leeds win the remaining 2 games, it goes without saying that Leeds will be crowned champions, as currently it is very much in Leeds' hands, and they would also hit that 100 point mark. The scenario that would see Leeds crowned champions on Monday night would need to see a record break to achieve this, and Burnley are currently 31 league games without a defeat and would need to lose to QPR on Saturday lunchtime for Leeds to clinch the title on Monday. Now, Leeds would clinch the title with a 3-point gap, but the superior goal difference that Leeds had would make it nearly impossible for Burnley to catch Leeds going into the final day of the season. They need around about a 20-goal swing plus winning the game and Leeds losing to Plymouth as well. So it won't mean a hands on a trophy on Monday night, but it would mean that it would be done for Leeds. But as we say, you would need to see Burnley lose to QPR, and they haven't done that in 31 games. We'll see how the party atmosphere has affected the 2 sides going for the title this weekend. Leeds having slightly longer to recover over the weekend, and we'll know what they need to do come Monday night. And then we go to the final story of the day, and this wraps up the Chris Wilder Patrick Bamford saga that's been floating around over the last few days. And Patrick Bamford has called Chris Wilder and had a chat with him after video emerged of Pat Bamford apparently starting a Chris Wilder chant. On the call to him, Chris Wilder said the following: "I'm a big boy, you give it, you take it, you give it out locally, you take it locally, as I've always done. We've had our moments, other teams will have their moments. I had a conversation with Pat yesterday, and I've no issue at all with it. I'm not sure about the words from a fellow pro, but I appreciate and respect him giving me a call, and we had a good chat for 20 minutes. I spoke to Daniel Farke as well, and had a half an hour chat with him. Top guy. They're a top team and a top football club. I'm a big boy. I would have, in a heartbeat, swapped their position for theirs, but it isn't the case. 94 points from both of the top two teams is an incredible achievement to get, and still 100 points on the go for both those sides as well. But nice to see Chris Wilder very much taking this on the chin and in good spirits, and fair play to him for that. But that will be it for us today and this week, folks. Back in the morning for the warm-up. You can check that out on the channel. And as I say, the live stream last night, the podcast, myself and Paul looking ahead to the Bristol City game, if you want to get some detail on that as well. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday morning for the news, and then on Tuesday for the review of what should be a very exciting night on Monday night at Ellen Road. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.